Welcome once again to another edition of Shelf Life Book Reviews online. Thank you as always for taking time to watch my videos, which hopefully you do find informative. And when you go to your local bookstore, you will seriously consider purchasing the book that I'm about to review for you. And it is quite a book. The book is How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. This is published by Berkeley Press, and it retails for $37.99. When it comes to horror, there are two main topics of interest that really creep a lot of people out the most: books about clowns and books about dolls. Well, this book is not about clowns, but it is about dolls and dozens and dozens and dozens of dolls. Grady Hendrix must have had a great time writing this book, because you can just tell the way he writes the characters, especially the dolls, with maniacal glee. I am sure he had a great time. And the fact that this book is over 400 pages gives you so much to savor, so much to consume, that you're just exhausted by the time you finish the book. And you will finish it quickly because you cannot stop reading. The book revolves around Louise Joyner, who used to live in Charleston, South Carolina. She left there to go back to Silicon Valley as she has a job, and she was raising her young daughter, Poppy. Poppy is 5 years old. Well, she must go back to Charleston because her parents, her elderly parents, died in a car accident. It was sort of suspicious, but they passed away, so now she must come back to deal with the estate and to deal with her brother Mark, and he does not make things easy. In the will, he has been left the house, and so he makes the most of it. He almost like mocks his sister that he's got it all, and so you really hate the guy Mark, but you also feel sorry for him as the book progresses. So in the book, they go to the haunted. Well, they don't know it's haunted yet, but they go to the house. And there they find the huge collection of dolls, because the mother, her passion, she was a puppeteer, and she made hundreds of dolls and hand puppets as well too. And so it's almost creepy with all these dolls. But basically, Mark says, well, his sister Louise can have the dolls, which she kind of wants them. But there's one doll in particular that is called Pupkin, and not pumpkin, Pupkin. And it is let's say the demon doll from hell. It's a hand puppet, and it seems to have a mind of its own. It gets creepier by the second because you don't really know what's going on with these dolls. And in the midst of all this, there is an imaginary dog, Spider, that the children grew up with, who really now has sort of come to life and has become a terrorizing force, almost like Cujo in the Stephen King book. It is really relentless horror, and the dolls, they do come to life, and they do start to sort of stalk Mark and Louise, and even though Mark blasts the doll to smithereens with a gun, it comes back, and you knew it would, because what would a story be without a demon doll from hell returning from the dead? And so it gets worse, and the doll attaches itself to Mark's hand the second time around, and he starts to he takes a hammer and bashes his sister's skull. He almost kills her, and so what she must do basically is cut his hand off with the puppet attached to it. So it just is, if you like gruesome horror, then you're going to like this book a heck of a lot, because there's so much going on. So Louise and Mark sort of come to terms with one another. They have a sort of peace between them, but he has lost his arm thanks to his sister, because she had to cut it off, or else he would have killed her, and he might just have wreaked havoc with Mark and turn the hammer on him. So it's really wild. And so finally, Poppy, the daughter who Louise had to leave back in Silicon Valley, she comes into the picture. And when they go to see her, guess what's on her hand? Pupkin, that they thought was killed and destroyed and burned and everything else. It is a tamer version of Pupkin, but it takes control of her, and the little 5-year-old girl sort of almost turns into a demon child. So it's, like I said, there's just so much happening here in this book that it really harkens back to the glory days of horror from the 70s and 80s when Stephen King and Dean Koontz and John Saul began writing their horror books. It really evokes great memories. And if you've seen the movie Chucky, I think there's 3, 4, or 5 books in the series with that killer doll. Pupkin almost makes Chucky look like a Boy Scout. This is really a wild, wild book. So if you're looking for a book that's really, really going to engross you, intimidate you, terrorize you, and keep you reading from page to page, How to Sell a Haunted House is the book for you. You cannot go wrong with this one. Grady Hendrix, thank you for a really remarkable book. So when you go to a local bookstore and if you do pick it out, please let me know if you do agree with my review, because I think you're going to enjoy it big time. So thank you for watching my video as always. We will be back again with another video review very soon. So stay safe, stay sane, stay in touch. I'll see you at the bookstore, and watch out for those dolls, because you never know what they're going to do next. Bye for now.